The rain fell in relentless sheets over the village of Emmerdale, soaking the streets and giving the usually charming market square a dark, glistening sheen. Inside the Woolpack, the warm glow of the pub offered refuge to those unwilling to face the storm outside. But for Aaron Dingle, warmth was the last thing on his mind. He stood by the window, fingers tapping against the cold glass, eyes burning with a mixture of hurt and fury. Kev had crossed a line this time. It wasn't the first time Aaron had been hurt by the older man, but this felt deliberate. His mind replayed Kev's smirk, the smug tone as he undermined Aaron at every turn. Every time Aaron thought he'd reached the limit, Kev pushed further. "This has to end," Aaron muttered, almost to himself. The reflection staring back from the window looked more like a stranger than the man who had laughed and loved freely just days ago. He clenched his fists. "I won't let him get away with this." Across the village, Robert Sugden sat in his car outside the garage, gripping the steering wheel. He could feel the tension radiating through his phone call with Aaron earlier. Aaron's words were sharp, laced with danger, an edge Robert had heard before, and one that made him uneasy. He knew Aaron when he was angry. He knew Aaron when he was wronged, and he knew Aaron when that anger was about to explode. Robert's mind raced. Kev had been a thorn in Aaron's side for months, but Robert couldn't help feeling conflicted. On one hand, he understood Aaron's frustration. On the other, he feared what Aaron might do. "It's not just about Kev," Robert murmured to himself. "It's about keeping Aaron safe, and keeping him from making a mistake he'll regret." Back in the Woolpack, Aaron paced, his boots scuffing against the wooden floor. The pub patrons avoided eye contact, sensing the storm brewing behind Aaron's intense gaze. "He thinks he can manipulate me," Aaron hissed under his breath. A plan began to take shape in Aaron's mind. It wasn't about revenge alone. It was about reclaiming control, about proving that Kev could not walk over him anymore. Each detail was calculated. Kev's routines, his friends, the weaknesses Aaron had observed. The Dingle determination burned hotter than the fire in the pub hearth. Meanwhile, Robert had arrived at the Woolpack, stepping carefully into the tension-charged atmosphere. He spotted Aaron near the bar, jaw tight, eyes dark. "Aaron," Robert said gently, trying to bridge the gap between caution and concern. "If you go through with it," his voice faltered, knowing Aaron wouldn't hear the warning, at least not yet. Aaron turned, his eyes flashing with intensity. "Robert, you don't get it. He's been using me, mocking me, trying to make me small. I can't just sit here anymore." Robert swallowed hard. He did understand, maybe too well. But he also knew the line between justice and danger was thin, dangerously thin. "I know, Aaron," he said carefully, "but there are other ways to handle Kev, ways that won't leave you exposed." Aaron's anger faltered for a heartbeat, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. The fire in him was still there, but Robert's words were a reminder that vengeance had a price, and in Emmerdale, a wrong step could have consequences far beyond one person's anger. Outside, the storm raged on, matching the turmoil within the pub. And as the rain pelted the windows, Aaron faced a choice: act on the fury that had consumed him for so long, or find a new path through the chaos that threatened to engulf everyone he cared about. Kev might have lit the fuse, but whether the explosion consumed Aaron too was still up in the air. The tension was electric, the night far from over, and one thing was certain: Emmerdale would never be the same again.